Welcome back to Forward Progress presented by Fanduel. We are back with another Saturday edition of our prop show here with Hitman by my side. I'm Jason Cooper, and we are going to cover three of Hitman's favorite props today. But before we do, I want to quickly remind everyone, guys, if you're not subscribed to the channel and you don't have your notifications turned on, make sure you do that right now. With these prop videos, these are markets that are super sensitive. They can move very fast. So if you don't get towards these videos right when they drop, the line will most likely move. That's why we always give a play to number. So just make sure that you're having your notifications on, you're subscribed, so you can catch these videos right when they drop because of the sensitivity of these markets. Just based on our analytics, 60% of you guys watching are not subscribed. So listen, if you want to get these props early, you want to get them the same number that we release them at, make sure that you are subscribed because there's no doubt that these props will eventually move at some point. There could be new injury news, new game news. There's so many things that could happen, along with people just watching the video and hammering that line. So if you haven't done that, make sure you guys do that. Last week didn't do as well as we like. We're going to look to improve it this week. Let's start off with Eagles against Buccaneers. Eagles right now -1.5. Basically a pick 'em here. Hitman, you have a prop in this game. Tell us a little bit about it.
Jalen Hurts under passing yards. So obviously there's cluster injuries to the wideouts. And AJ Brown, I would say more likely than not, going to miss this game. Devontae Smith is out. Even Covey, the guy that was getting a bunch of screens for the Eagles in the past few weeks, he's not going to be in this game. So they only have two active receivers in Johnny Wilson and Jahan Dotson, and they'll 99% likely call up Paris Campbell from the practice squad to play in this game. Obviously, the number's been adjusted to where Hertz's number is lower than it is typical weeks without his wideouts, but I just don't know if it's been adjusted enough based off this matchup against the Bucks. Hertz has struggled against the blitz going back to last year. If you remember, it made news when Jalen Hurts came out and said that in week 18, after week 18 of last season, he called Wink Martindale of the Giants, who was just zero blitzing him every single snap, telling him, like, could you help me out? Like, what do I do against your coverage? What were you guys doing against us? How do you counter it? And all that. And he played a Tampa team the next week that blitzed the hell out of Jalen Hurts. And that was a game where their offense struggled so much that they were the only offense in playoff history to not convert a third down, and they scored 9 points in that game. In fact, in 4 games against Todd Bowles' defenses, when Hurts has been blitzed, he's thrown for only 6 yards per attempt and he's completed 56% of his passes. So this has been a trend going back over the past year with Jalen Hurts against a blitz-heavy defense. And it's just a bad match. When you have that blitz-heavy defense, it obviously means you're getting one-on-one with your wide receivers, and you just do not have the guys right now. And especially after last week, where we got to see the Eagles had so much success running the ball. Kalijah Cansey is out for this game for the Bucks. Vita Vea looks like he might go, but is he compromised in this game? This is the guy. This is the run stopper for this Tampa defense. So I just thought that Jalen Hurts high 200s. I like the under. I think it's still just not dropped enough.
Right now, we got under 210.5 at -113 over on FanDuel. Quickly, Hitman, give us a play two price for those out there, or is it almost at that number right now?
Yeah, so another service sent out Jalen Hurts under in like the 212-ish range, 213-ish range. So it's dropped a little bit. So it's a little bit thinner than I'd normally like. I would say that we could go to 207.5, but that would be the cutoff.
All right, 207.5 is the cutoff in case you're catching this video a little later on in the day or on Sunday morning. All right, let's get into our next game. Cleveland Browns taking on the Las Vegas Raiders. The Raiders popped up with a ton of injuries earlier this week. Same with the Browns. No Max Crosby, maybe no Myles Garrett. Man, tons of injuries in this game. What prop are you attacking?
We're going to go Brock Bowers under 54.5, I believe, current market on receiving yards. If you could help me with that, Jason.
Yeah, it's currently under 54.5, -113.
Got you. I would play that down to 52.5. So I couldn't believe when I read all the metrics on Brock Bowers. The first one was against single high coverage, which the Browns run more than any team in the NFL. Brock Bowers this season, now it's a short sample size, it's only 3 games, but he only has a 13% target share and a 7% air yard share against single high coverage. It's been too deep coverage that he has absolutely dominated so far this season. And what do the Browns also do with single high coverage? They tend to be one of the man heaviest coverage teams in the NFL. And this year he's struggled against man coverage, but it's crazy. Even going back to last year at Georgia, he had the second lowest target rate against man coverage, second lowest yards per route run against man coverage out of 16 tight ends that were invited to the combine. That I could not believe. And this year he has an 8% target share against man coverage compared to 30% against zone. Obviously Davante Adams being out is going to lead to more targets being funneled to Brock Bowers, but it's being accounted for in the line as his number was 37.5 to 39.5 before the Adams and the Michael Mayer news broke. And now we're getting it close to 15 yards higher. And, as much as there will be more opportunity for Brock Bowers against these coverages, excuse me, without Davante Adams and Michael Mayer in the game, the matchup, it just gets tougher that he's going to be more of a focal point against the defense. If the Browns, if they were ever considering running too high coverage to deal with the weapons and Jacoby Myers, Trey Tucker, and Davante Adams, that's pretty much been thrown out of the window. Like now, without having Davante Adams as a complementary piece, in all likelihood, you're just going to get more aggressive with more man coverage, more single high defense. I just think that it's been inflated just a little bit too much. And if Bowers does beat me against these coverages that he's struggled against, and you know what? I'm sure at some point in his career, he's going to be good enough. He's one of the best tight end prospects we've seen. I don't think he's just going to struggle against man coverage and single high for the rest of his career. I don't believe that, but it's been a trend going back to Georgia. It's been a trend going back to the first 3 games of his career. And remember, it's not only does this team play this type of specific defense, but they play it well. It's still a great defense, and it's a game where Gardner Minshew is projected for 200 passing yards. So, and with a 36.5 total. So it's not exactly projected to be a high scoring game. Bowers is being priced as arguably the best tight. He's being priced around like guys like Trey McBride every week right now. So give me the under on Bowers.
Under 54.5 minus 113, playable to 52.5 for Brock Bowers. And like you mentioned, though, listen, he's a young tight end. I'm sure he's going to be great down the line, but these are trends that you see throughout college. I mean, I doubt he's fixed it 4 games into the NFL. Before we get into our next prop, which want to kick off this NFL season with a win on Fanduel, America's #1 sports book. We absolutely love Fanduel here at Forward Progress with their lightning quick bets, their extensive prop menu, their great odds, and their super fast live betting. Their super fast live betting portal. Right now, all customers can get a profit boost every single NFL game day. That means you can pump up your gridiron wins multiple times in a week. This Sunday, you can get an anytime touchdown profit boost token, a same game parlay profit boost token, a parlay / SGP profit boost token, and for Monday, you can get an SGP profit boost token and a live profit boost token. Make sure you take advantage of these profit boost tokens, guys. FanDuel has tons of ways you can get in on the NFL action. You can bet on money lines, spreads, player props, and so much more. Plus, with super simple live betting, lightning fast bet settlement. Plus, with super simple live betting, lightning fast bet settlements, and instant withdrawals, FanDuel makes betting on the NFL easier than ever before. Just visit FanDuel.com/forward progress to download FanDuel today. Must be 21 plus and present in select states or 18 plus and present in DC. Opt-in required. Bonus issued as non-withdrawable profit boost tokens. Restrictions apply, including token expiration. See terms for both offers at sportsbook.fanduel.com. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER or visit fanduel.com/RG. Call 1-888-789-7777 or visit ccpg.org hope.com/chat in Connecticut, or visit mdgamblinghelp.org in Maryland. Hope is here. Visit gamblinghelplinema.org or call 1-800-327-5050 for 24/7 support in Massachusetts, or call 1-877-8-HOPE-New York, or text HOPE-NY in New York. Let's get on to our last game here, Hitman. Washington Commanders taking on the Arizona Cardinals. Washington looked a lot better in primetime with a big win over the Cincinnati Bengals. Cardinals offense is humming, doing great things. So there's a prop you like in this game. Hitman, tell us about it.
Terry McLaurin under 4.5 receptions, minus 128. Now, this is the highest I'm going to go to. Just shop around. There's the most of the market is minus 115 right now. So this is the highest I would go to, the minus 128. But, it's just a high number, I think, for McLaurin, considering the fact that, listen, he's not getting a ton of targets this season so far throughout 3 weeks. Right now, he's outside the top 30 in all wide receiver targets. Last week, there was a lot of talk about an emphasis on moving McLaurin around a little bit more, getting him more involved. And I was on McLaurin receiving overs last week. I was on receiving yards instead of receptions last week, and I left that game kind of thinking I got lucky. He had 4 targets. He had 6 targets total, and that was in a week where they're saying, "Oh, they got to give him the ball." That's not a ton of targets. He had 4 of them be 20 plus yards down the field. And you've kind of seen a shift in this Washington offense in past few weeks where the preseason, it was just screens and line of scrimmage throws. Week 1, screens, line of scrimmage throws. Jaden Daniels, only 12% of his throws were 10 or more yards down the field. Week 2, it went to 27%. And now week 3 against the Bengals, it went all the way to 35% of his throws being 10 or more yards down the field. Obviously, if you're going to shift to that type of offense, and the strength of Jaden Daniels' game coming out of college is as a deep ball thrower, if you're going to shift to that type of offense, there's just going to be less efficiency on the targets when you're throwing it down the field more. I mean, even last week, McLaurin finished with that huge game, 100 receiving yards. He finished with only 4 catches on those 6 targets. So I just think it's being inflated a little bit off that monster game that he had last week. Jaden Daniels' pass volume is still nothing to write home about either. Like, they're throwing in the mid 20s in pass attempts all 3 of their games this year. It's obviously they're playing a game where only 3.5 point underdogs could find yourself in a game script where they are running a bit in this game more than some of the games where Washington plays. They tend to be 7-point underdogs and stuff like that. So I just think that it's a little bit inflated on McLaurin, especially with the fact that his route tree does seem to be deeper down the field, and that does seem to be where Jaden Daniels, the trend line is going for where a lot of his pass attempts have been. So give me Jaden Daniels under 4.5 pass attempts, minus 128. That's the play to number.
Terry McLaurin under 4.5 pass attempt, or sorry, under 4.5 receptions.
Thank you
That's
for
so good.
saving me. I remember last week on Forward Progress, I said something about Kevin Stefanski still being the coach of the Minnesota Vikings. So thank you for
It's all right.
saving me on that, Jason. Yep, Terry
It's all right.
McLaurin under. We are going.
Under receptions, 4.5, minus 128, available over on Fanduel. Reminder always to shop around to find the best price. Fanduel sometimes has the best price, sometimes it does not. We're not afraid to mention that, hey, we want everyone to shop around and find the best price. And again, guys, if you're not subscribed, make sure you're subscribed, because guess what? This price might not be available for very long. Before we head out here, every week, Hitman, I throw together a prop for the Sunday night football game, and I'm going to do an SGP for you today. I'm going to build it live on air here with us. It's going to start. Judah, in case you missed the Wednesday show, he took the Bills at minus 5.5 on the alt spread. I love the Bills in this game. I think the Bills are going to do great here. So that's what I'm going to do. And I'm going to build it around that. So we're going to start with the Bills, minus 5.5 on the spread. Going to head over to passing props. I know this sounds crazy, but we're going to go under Josh Allen passing touchdowns, under 1.5 passing touchdowns. And we're going to head over to the rushing props. We're going to do over James Cook, 53.5 rushing yards. And then we're going to head over to the alt rushing yards, Lamar Jackson, 60 plus rushing yards, 22-1 there. So just to recap, Bills minus 5.5, Josh Allen under 1.5 pass TDs, James Cook over 53.5 rushing yards, and Lamar Jackson 60 plus rushing yards. Hitman, there's a little bit of a smirk on your face. You don't like it, do you?
Do you want me to trash it? Do you want me to be honest, or do you want me to just
Yeah, but
lie to the
please,
audience?
please be honest.
All
I
right.
know you've lied to me every
I
week, so
I like the Lamar end because Lamar does tend to run more in big games. He's been open
yeah.
about that he sometimes looks to run more in big games. And this I would consider this a big game. Sunday night football, you're playing against the best team in the league, arguably. So I like that leg of it. The legs where I disagree with it is I would in fact reverse it and I would go Allen over passing touchdowns and I would go Cook under rush yards. And my reasoning for that is there's all this talk about Buffalo like being, oh, they're so run heavy under Joe Brady. Ever since he became the coordinator, they're running the ball so much. Well, last week against Jacksonville, they came out throwing a ton. And I think some of that was maybe matchup specific, where Jacksonville has been a bit of a pass funnel. So I've seen some signs that Joe Brady will adjust to the opponent that he's going against. And Baltimore is far more inferior in pass defense through 3 weeks than they are in run defense. So you know what? If you want a fun same game parlay, I don't mind the Lamar over, but I'm reversing it and I'm going Allen over and Cook under. You guys can play whatever you want. Play Jason's, play mine, but that's what I'm gonna say.
I'm going to play both, and I'm obviously going to play it very small. We've been very clear on these. These are clear wagertainment bets. Don't expect these to win, right? But if they do, let's have some fun with it. I'm gonna play both and see what happens here. Maybe that's really stupid, but hey, that's what I'm known for.
Sunday
Anyways,
night
thank you guys.
football, you're having fun, you want some action,
Exactly.
whatever. Just don't go crazy.
Exactly. That's the key point there. And if you're not doing anything for Sunday Night Football, make sure you're here on the channel because we have a live watch along for that game. Rob Pizzol will be hosting this Sunday. That does it for us here today on the show. If you enjoy the content, please hit that like button. If you're new to the channel, you've watched our content before, hit that subscribe button if you haven't already. And if you want to make sure that you get these videos right when they drop, make sure you turn on that notification bell because listen, it's hard to get these videos at the same time every week with the evolution of the prop market as the week goes on. So we're going to try and get it to you guys as quickly as possible, but there's no hard time where this is going to come out. Make sure you turn on the notifications so you can be notified right when we go live. And then finally, one more thing I ask you guys, drop a 1 in the comment if you're tailing us this week. That's it. Just the 1. Just the number 1. That's it. All right. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. This has been Forward Progress, the Saturday Props edition with Hitman. Thank you so much. We'll see you guys here in the next one.